in this project of reclaiming the legacy of Bharat's Maryada Purushottam. And we are talking about Mr. S. Gurumurthy, who is the editor of the Thuglak. He is also, viewers, an ideologue and an author. And as I told you, viewers, has been intrinsically involved in this civilizational battle. Now, I am very honored to have you with us, Mr. Gurumurthy. You, of course, require no introductions. I want to ask you some basic questions tonight. And please pardon me if I sound very simplistic, but sometimes those are the easiest questions to supply complex answers to. So, Mr. Gurumurthy, how should ordinary Indians view the January 22nd Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha in Ayodhya? Is it, viewers, as many have claimed today, and Mr. Gurumurthy, a political event? Or is it really about reclaiming India's civilizational history?
See, as someone who was very closely involved with the Ram Temple movement from 1980s, it is something which we imagined would be the civilizational revival of India. But the entire secular polity stood against it. It was a massive challenge. Looking back and looking at where we stand today, see, unless you have an overview of what happened in the last 4 decades, you will not be able to understand the significance of this great moment. So, I recall that the movement is being reduced to just a political movement. It has been there for 400 years. You must have heard recently the in 50 villages around Ayodhya, the Suryavanshis, they had given up wearing the turban.
Turban, yes.
Till the Ram Janmabhoomi is recovered and the temple was rebuilt. 400 years they did not wear the pagadi. They have started wearing now. You can understand how ordinary Indians reacted to the destruction of the Ram temple at that time, and from then onwards, continuously there have been efforts to recover it. This is historically recorded. There were military attempts, there were diplomatic attempts. In 1934, there was an armed rebellion in which many were killed. And in 1885, a British judge recorded, when a case was filed for its recovery, he went and saw, and he said it is so sad that Babur should have built a mosque on a site held dear by Hindus. But I cannot give any legal remedy. So far, time has moved. You know, all this is completely whitewashed. And as if the mosque has been demolished to build a temple, it was never a mosque. In 1885, the judge records that it is an unoccupied building. There was nobody. In 1934, there was nobody. And it has been in disuse. The government of India records show that it was a disputed structure. But suddenly, in mid-1992, the government of India declared it was a mosque. That is how the whole world, India, Muslims, were told that a mosque is being targeted. You can understand the conspiracy. I mean, we were all witnessing what was happening at the time. We were all seeing how an anti-Hindu, anti-national, anti-truth narrative was being built at that time. And we fought through the whole thing. And of course, history moves in a very strange way. It doesn't move as politicians want, as even historians want, as media wants, as intellectuals want. It moves in its own way. This is what Arnold Toynbee said. In 1957, he warned that don't keep provocative symbols of invaders because it's an eyesore. There is bound to be reaction. And he also showed the example of the Polish government demolishing the Russian Orthodox cathedral in the center of Warsaw. And he, he went 2 days after it was destroyed. The Russian occupation resulted in the center of Warsaw being turned into the Russian Orthodox cathedral. It is within Christianity. It is Russia versus Poland. Poland demolished the Russian Orthodox cathedral and built the Roman Catholic Church. And this demolition was given running commentary over the Polish radio. This is what Arnold Toynbee says. This is how history reacts. And he said that the Ayodhya, Mathura, and Kashi, these three so-called religious structures are not religious structures. They were symbols of domination over India. And he said, of course, you Indians are keeping it. And he paid a left-handed compliment for this. But the entire narrative built on false stories, vote bank politics, I mean, this resulted in huge consolidation of all nationalist forces. And maybe that is the will of the divine. There was no other way
Right.
nationalist forces would have joined together.
Well,
And so I view the Ram Temple movement.
okay, let me ask you, Mr. Gurumurthy, we are often assailed by anti-Sanatana hate from some quarters in the south, especially in Tamil Nadu, but the Prime Minister is carrying blessings from Lipakshi in Andhra Pradesh and a message of devotion tomorrow from Guruvuru to Ram, who is Sanatana's Maryada Purush. How does one decode this upsurge in devotion for Ram in the south, where you belong, where you hail from?
See, Dravidianism was political and it was promoted long before India attained freedom. It was to divide India. A racial theory was invented, and as it slowly turned against Hinduism via anti-Brahminism. I can tell you there is a community, the most powerful and most, what I can say, numerically strong community is the one-year community. And that records itself as the one community which protected during the Mahabharata the hidden arms of the Pandavas during their Ajnatavas. And it was hidden in a vani tree, and they safeguarded the vani tree, and that is why they are called Vanyas. This is what their Purana says. So, in Tamil Nadu, there is intrinsic relationship between Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the local literature. You know, the earliest Tamil literature speak of Ramayana, Rama, Sita, and they were all Sangam literature 2,200 years ago. Purananuru, Agananuru, the Silapadikaram, Manimehalai. These are all the oldest Tamil literature. Remove them, there is no Tamil. They speak of Rama. And you see Rameshwaram as the core center of Rama Bhakti. And Dravidianism is purely anti-national movement which targeted the Hindus, which targeted the North, and that doesn't represent the beliefs, feelings, emotions, and the way of life of the Tamil people. If you stay, see, I travel throughout the country. If there is any state which is most Hinduized in terms of belief, practices, traditions, value systems, family, role of women, and the respect that the youngsters have for elders,
Now,
is Tamil Nadu. So Dravidianism is a political uh, distortion in Tamil Nadu.
okay.
It has nothing to do with the Tamil people's beliefs and way of life.
So let's shift focus just a bit, because there are other manufactured arguments, but one of them is a very direct charge. What do you make of the claim, for example, that January 22nd event is a Modi event and therefore it is legitimate to boycott it, sir?
If you look at what happened in Somnath in 1951 and in 1947, the Somnath temple reconstruction started, and it was initiated by a cabinet resolution of the Free Indian government headed by Pandit Nehru. He may not have liked it, but the entire cabinet wanted the government of India to build the Somnath temple.
Yes.
There was a mosque in that place.
Yeah.
It had to be removed. It was removed. Why it was removed? Because Patel and Munshi met Mahatma Gandhi and said Somnath has to be built. Gandhi had written in 1925, if I remember right, in February in Young India, which Balbir Punch quoted in his latest and brilliant book which he has written, that if a mosque was built on a Hindu land, the Hindus can demolish it. It was Mahatma Gandhi's words. And that was why the masjid was removed, temple was built, the government of India offered to fund it. Mahatma Gandhi said, don't fund from the government, it must be by the people. And after Patel passed also, the government carried on the job of building the Somnath temple. And it was Rajendra Prasad who declared the temple open. He participated in the Prana Pratishtha. Was it a Congress project? Was it a political project? Was it Rajendra Prasad project? The whole movement for Ram temple was carried on by people, and the people whose representative who carried on the struggle, and
Right.
those people's representative is the Prime Minister. That is the fortune. It is not Narendra Modi in his personal capacity. He represents the movement which led to the construction of the Ram temple, change in the polity. And this whole thing has been endorsed constitutionally by a unanimous judgment of the Supreme Court. And the law to acquire the land for the Ram temple was passed by the Congress party in 1993. And that was implemented by the Supreme Court. They said that land is already available. Now you hand it over to the Hindus after having found that there was a temple beneath the mosque which was demolished. And so it all happened by a convergence of historical forces, political forces, constitutional forces, and the Supreme Court judgment sealed it. And it is a project which is a convergence of the entire Indian civilizational, political, constitutional,
Okay.
and state forces. And the Prime Minister represents it in more than one way. As Prime Minister and as a person who represents the movement that brought the temple into existence against insurmountable odds.
Okay.
The whole world was told the Hindus have demolished a mosque, which is fake, it is false. And Hindus had to bear that bad name because of our own political divisions, the wrong narrative, false narrative, left narrative. The Hindus had borne so much pain and difficulties, and it is that movement finds its representative in power. That is moral and constitutional authority to be part of and lead the Pran Pratishtha of
Well,
the
we're
temple.
talking about the Prime Minister, Mr. Gurumurthy, and you can see live visuals coming in there from Kochi, where he's embarked on a road show. I told you, viewers, he's in the south. He's obviously carrying the South's Dakshina on January 22nd to Ram Lalla. So, Mr. Gurumurthy, as we keep one eye on these visuals, I just want to ask you this question. How do you respond to those who say that the construction is the inauguration of a second republic with Hindutva as the state religion? People are saying that all of this is being done to push Hindutva down the throats of unsuspecting Indians.
See, Hindutva was never a state religion in India at any point in time. Nowhere, no king ruled in the name of any particular faith.
Yeah.
And you may be surprised, the only king who did it in India before the
Ashoka.
Mughals came was Ashoka. He declared his personal religion, but he did not declare it as the religion of the people.
Yeah.
And you must see the rock edicts of Ashoka. He said, you must support the Brahmins. They represent the Vedas. And you must support all religions. A person who ruled in the name of one religion also in India supported all religion, but he was the only exception. In a sense, if any state in India could be regarded as theocratic, it was his. And Ramarajya is very important. Mahatma Gandhi says, I accept all religions today because of Rama. I accept all religions today. It is because of Ramarajya. He said Rama is Rama Vigrahavan Dharma. He represents Dharma. Mahatma Gandhi says Rama is truth. So truth and Dharma. You look at the Indian symbol. Satyameva Jayate. Satya. And you look at the Supreme Court motto. Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitha. The Dharma and truth, Mahatma Gandhi says, is represented by Rama and Ramarajya. There is the question of theocracy. There is no theology in Hinduism. A theology regards itself as right, the other as wrong. In Hinduism, the 6 darshanas, they have a lot of conflicts among themselves. And so there is nothing called theology or theocracy, and the Hindu Rashtra is only the nation, and it can never be a Hindu state. There has never been a Hindu state. There can never be a Hindu state in future.
Well, Mr. Gurumurthy, I have to commend you tonight because you have come up with factual arguments. All arguments are fact-based, very persuasive arguments, viewers. And I sincerely hope that all of you will spread the word. Please retweet these clips, very important, or somehow spread them through the larger national ecosystem so that people understand and put in perspective what we are seeing. I'm doing a very short break, viewers. When we return, another big story.